Hello, I'm Dr. Rosalind DeShablo. Thank you for joining me for this brief description of some of our larger programs, help you make decisions. Transcription for this video is available or you can watch it on YouTube if you want to watch it fully subtitled. All of our streaming classes are fully closed captioned and all of our recorded classes are fully subtitled. Let's start with talking about two of our largest and most popular programs. So both of these programs, the Holistic Sex Educator Certification Program and the Holistic Sex Therapy Training Program, offer all CEs necessary to apply to ASECT for certification, either as a sex educator, sex counselor, or sex therapist. So they all offer all of it. And I'll talk about counselors have a new program that we've got. I'll talk about that in a minute. We'll talk more about ASECT as we move on and what that means and what it doesn't mean. So ASECT is American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists. The components of these programs are fairly simple. The first one is recorded webinars. We call them on demand. You can watch them at any time. The streaming webinars are, of course, they have dates and times, and they happen twice a year, and you have 2 years to complete the program. So what that means is that, you have 4 chances to take each class. We recommend highly that you only schedule out 18 months in advance and as opposed to the full 2 years, because that way, if something happens in your life and you can't get to a class, you still have a whole semester to make up for those classes. Okay, so let's look at how you would get there. If you want to know about streaming webinars, you would go to the IC website and you would go to classes and webinars and click on streaming classes for professionals. And all of the times and dates are here. And again, you'll notice that the same classes happen twice in a year. For instance, this is Joy of Intimacy in February, and it'll happen again later in the year after July. Okay, so it's basically January to June and then July to December. That's how we think of them as semesters. Okay. Papers, there are 2 papers involved. They're not too stressful and we can help you with them if you're not good with paper writing. There are sometimes in-person classes. We don't have any planned yet for 2024. There probably won't be any until 2025, but it's possible. And if so, you can swap them out for whatever required class you have that is live streaming online. Okay, let's look at the learning paths for a minute. So learning paths are how these programs work in terms of what they look like when you're going through them. So let's start with the Holistic Sex Education Certification Program. If we go on this page, you'll see all the learning paths, and you in fact may have already done this. You may have noticed that this is all more foundational information. And then as we move into, let's say, Learning Path 4, it's much deeper, more detailed information. If we go down here to the live learning path, you can see everything that you would be doing, interacting with an instructor and other students. And as you go down here, it'll give you a summary of how many hours you get for the entire program. This talks about how you pay. I'll talk about that in a moment. If we go to the sex therapy or sex counseling training program section, it looks very much the same, but the classes are different. Now, a lot of these classes are similar. You will have an overlap in who you have classes with, which is really kind of cool, because one of the favorite parts of the program from our students that they love is that they're not just all with therapists or all with counselors or all with medical people or all with educators. The hybridization of some of these classes, of course, everybody has to learn the basics before they learn what to do with that. That's one of people's favorite parts, because you will meet people from every walk, every career you could think of, places that you never would thought have need of sex education, and they will teach you almost as much as the instructors will. So IC has some pretty cool people in that way. And I do love that some of the classes are like this, quite a few of the classes that you will take with people from other disciplines. Again, same thing, your live streaming classes, therapists and counselors are here. And of course, some of them are different. And exactly how many hours you have is right there. Okay. So you also have access to reduced rate ASECT supervisors. We have quite a few of them. Some programs do offer your supervision included in your program. Those programs are usually a little bit more expensive to a lot more expensive, and they often only have 1 or 2 supervisors. We have always at least 10. So the educators right now, there are 4 certified sex educator supervisors, and the therapists, we have right now we have 13 or 14 of them. So what's nice is that you can choose, you have choice. Same thing with sexuality counselors. We have a couple of folks who do that. And also counselors are allowed to use sex therapy supervisors as well for their supervision. Supervision is simply a way to help you to hone and improve your practice, whatever that may be, whatever discipline you are working in. Let's talk about this pelvic health program collaboration, because this is brand new and we're really excited about it. We already have people taking advantage of it. So we actually were contacted by the Pelvic Health Sexuality Counseling Certificate Program with Dr. UC Osai and Heather Edwards, both of whom are pelvic physical therapists. And they created this program that is not just for PTs, it's for any medical professional or healthcare professional that deals with pelvic health or genital health. So you can take courses in both programs. We designed them so that if you're interested in ASEC certification, you will get all of the CEs needed to apply for ASEC for certification. If you take the component from our program and the component from theirs. So that's kind of a fun thing that's happening now. A couple of our smaller programs that are still certificate programs, you get a certificate at the end, are ACEs, Advancing Clinical Education in Sexuality. That was really designed for healthcare folks, and that includes therapists, therapists or counselors, etc. And what that's there for is, if you want a smaller program, you're not interested in ASEC certification, or maybe you just don't want that information, but you want some. This is a good chunk of hours here. This is about 12 classes. I believe 2 of them are streaming live and the others are all recorded. It's, of course, much cheaper than the larger programs, but it still gives you a really good, meaty understanding that you would never have gotten in medical school, or for that matter, in marriage and family therapy, or any of the counseling disciplines will never give you this much detail. Suite is a little bit larger of a program, but it's all recorded. And we actually created Suite with people who are internationally, they're far away from us, right? And their time zones are different. And so we got a lot of people who wanted to come through our program, but our streaming classes are literally in the middle of the night. So we created something a little bit in between where they're still getting a really significant amount of information and a lot of classes, but it's all recorded. Okay, IC and ASEC. So IC is an approved provider of CEs with the American Association of Sex Educators, Counselors, and Therapists, but we are not ASEC. So we don't guarantee ASEC certification, but we do guarantee that they will accept our CEs and they will accept our supervision, because all of our supervisors are certified with ASEC as supervisors. ASEC does require some live streaming hours or some in-person hours, which is why our programs do have streaming components when they include all of the CEs needed for ASEC. So some people have said to us, why can't I just take it all recorded? Well, A, we don't think that that's the best way to learn everything if you're going to be really, really informed and well prepared. And B, neither does ASEC, right? So if you really just don't want to spend that much time, I would suggest doing ACEs or Suite. But if you do, yeah, that is something you have to do. Okay, ASEC does not certify internationally, but it does certify in, of course, all the US and its territories, Canada, Mexico, and Israel. You can see asec.org for more information. About accommodation and accessibility. So we make every effort that we can to be as accessible as possible and to meet accessibility needs. We can't meet all accessibility needs. We do not claim to be fully accessible to everyone, no matter what your availability is. But we do try, and we have certainly managed to make accommodations for a lot of different issues. So just let us know what it is that you need accommodated, so that before you buy the program, so that we can make sure that we can accommodate you. And if not, we can certainly talk to you about some places that may be more likely to be able to do so, which usually is something like a university program. Okay. IC does not teach people how to be sex therapists. We teach therapists how to be sex therapists. So you have to already be a therapist or in the last year of a training program or a graduate program in order to be a part of IC. You have to basically be able to see clients or be seeing clients already. Okay, our philosophy is one of the things that makes us quite different, or a little different from some of these other programs. So we have a very holistic philosophy. We think of sexuality as part of our ecology. part of the planet, part of the environmental ecology, part of the political ecology, part of the financial ecology, part of your neighborhood, right? It may sound strange, but it is part of all of these other systems. And we actually teach you how that's the case so that you can think in a more holistic way about human sexuality. We are very interested in not only your professional growth, but also your personal growth. And we recognize that they overlap, right? They're not completely separate from each other. You are never required to discuss your personal life, but a lot of people do. And a lot of people get a lot of personal satisfaction and tell us that their lives have been changed by coming through the program, which gives us a lot of satisfaction. We create a mind, body, spirit awareness by using embodied exercises, talking a lot about people's values, religion, etc. We provide accurate current sexological information from the top faculty in the field. We promote understanding of intersectionality, social justice, and diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as accessibility. This is woven through every class. It is not one class or two classes. It is woven into every class in its fabric. We do have an ecological view of sex. As I said before, we promote understanding of fulfilling relationships because all sex happens in context of relationships, even if it's a relationship with yourself. Okay, cultivating and utilizing community is another thing that's very important to us. Not only will you have community as you go through the program, but we'll teach you how to cultivate community in your practice as either a therapist, counselor, or an educator. We do have scholarships for Black, Indigenous, or people of color, between 1 and 4 per year, depending on the year. Please contact us for more information if you're interested. And let's look at the faculty for a minute. So we encourage you to go on the IC website, go to About IC, click on Faculty and Staff, and that's where you'll get to this page. We really encourage you to look because our faculty are really top notch. If you look here, you see this is our full-time people in terms of staff. But our faculty are just incredible. They have a number of disciplines that they're involved in, many different areas of expertise. And what I like to say about this is they are practitioners, not just teachers. So they're doing what they're teaching you about, but they're also really skilled instructors. There are some people who do an amazing job as a therapist, but they're not particularly good at teaching you how to do therapy, or they're incredible, I don't know, pelvic floor people, but that doesn't mean that they can teach you about the pelvic floor very well. All of our instructors are really good teachers. Okay, supervision. Okay, we talked about this. So the sex educator program comes with access to 25 hours of supervision that will cover for ASEC in case you're interested. It is an extra fee. If you want the IC certification as a holistic sex educator so that you can have the credential after your name when you graduate, you can add 16 hours of group supervision for $450. And all of that can be wrapped into a monthly payment plan if you would rather pay by payment plan. We'll talk about that in a moment. The sex therapy program does offer, right now, it says 11 plus, just because depending on when I wrote this, sometimes there's 10, right now there's 13 actually. Supervisors at reduced rates, and they're contracted by you, but you let them know that you're an IC student. They'll verify that with us and they'll give you a reduced rate. For streaming programs, you need a reliable internet connection from a good device. You can't use a phone. It has to be at least a tablet with the widgets attached because you'll need to look at files and you'll need to be able to use whiteboards and other things that you really can't do on a phone or can't do well. You need a private space away from children and family members. If you live in a smaller space, that's fine. Just pop in a headset and have a wall behind you. That's all that we ask. That's for your privacy, but it's also for the privacy and comfort of the people around you. And for your classmates' confidentiality as well. You do need some technical experience. We always say that our platforms are very easy to use, but if we need to show you how to use them, we can. What we can't do is show you how to use your own device. So please make sure you know how to do that before you come to IC. Streaming classes are all listed in Eastern time zone in the United States. They are made to accommodate, most easily the US and Canada, but we certainly have people from all over the world who take the classes. It's just up to you. You have 2 years to complete the HSET or HSTT programs, 2.5 if you're enrolled in both. Suite is a 6-month deadline to complete. ACES is 3 months, and then optional or streaming recorded courses are available outside of those programs. So if you see something on our website or you see us advertising another class, it may not be part of your program, but you certainly can sign up for it. It's just extra money. Okay, the networking and community that we have in IC is really incredible. We have a Facebook group. We have an IC online community, which is from 90 Networks. It's like our own social network. It's just us, so that you don't have to worry about what's happening on Facebook or who might be seeing this. We have an Instagram account. We have a YouTube channel, and we are on LinkedIn. These are our staff, as I showed you before. We're Monday through Friday, although I do work on weekends sometimes, as does Nikhil, our learning technology specialist. But in general, we're available somewhere between 8 and 6 your time if you're in the US, and kind of around that, if just add a few hours depending on where you are in the world. Okay, you can see the website for the current prices. Payment plans are available for HSET and HSTT, so you can pay on a monthly payment plan. Some international discounts are available. The least expensive way to do this is to pay for it all at once. You actually save $300. We take $300 off the whole program if you're able to pay all at once. So if you have a credit card that'll cover it, that's great. The second less expensive way to pay is to pay by learning path. So you basically buy one learning path at a time, and it'll be a chunk of change. Some of them are, I don't know, $600 or $700. But the positives about that is it's less expensive than your monthly payment plan if you like to do that. It's certainly less expensive than buying one course at a time, which I really do not recommend. But the other neat thing about going by learning path is you can buy a learning path and then you can take however long you want until you buy the next one. Or start the next one. So you don't have a 2-year limit at that point. You're just literally buying learning path by learning path. Okay. So how do you start? Let's say you love this and you're like, great, wonderful, I want to start. So if you're an educator, you would go again to the IC website, go to certification programs, click on this, and it'll bring you to this page, and go here and go to enroll in HSET. That will bring you to our application form. This basically asks you a bunch of questions, gets a bunch of information from you, and starts the whole process rolling. Very similar for the holistic sex therapy program. Again, you're just going to go down to the bottom, enroll in HSTT, and start the process there. As soon as we see your application, and again, we only work Monday through Friday, but as soon as we see it, we contact you. And we get you enrolled as soon as you're ready to enroll. A lot of people apply a little bit before they actually enroll. That's totally fine, but it sort of saves your spot if it's a year when we're really full, it saves your spot, which is nice. Okay. The other thing I want to talk about is the pelvic health sexuality counseling certificate program. You can start with them or start with us. It doesn't matter. You could take them both at the same time, but that might be a lot of work. So you might want to do one and then the other. But that's up to you. So you can contact them, and that contact information is available on our website. Okay. So in case you still have questions, you can call us at this number here, or you can write to us at info@instituteforsexuality.com. I really want to thank you for coming by today. It's my pleasure to meet some of you as time goes on, and we'll see you soon.